Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Prajajanarandana. Yashodanandana Prajajanarandana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Padavadikacharya Ashtotar Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Padavadikacharya Ashtotar Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Grantaraj srimadbhagavatam Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. So I think we got a helicopter up there, and what they're doing is looking for somebody. And that means that they're going to be going around and around and around. And so can you close the doors? Thanks. I think it's... yeah, that's why they're going around and around. Guarantee. Yeah. Narayana Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamadiriyet. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nastapayasha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious within the heart is destroyed almost to nil, and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord, who is glorified in transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, before I announce this class, so you got into this thing of writing on the board, the last one. You know we're on text 6. Well, he's got this idea too. Because that's the one with the purport. Anyway, we'll figure it out. All right, I'm going to chant alone, text number 6, and then we'll chant 7 together. So, oops. On the 6th day of September, 2018 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are studying the 4th canto, the creation of the 4th order. Chapter 6, Brahma satisfies Lord Shiva. Text numbers 6 and 7. I'll just chant 6 myself. Ashasana jivitam adharasya loka sapala kupitena yasmin tamashu devam priyaya vahinam chamapayadvam vidividham duruktai. Lord Brahma also advised them that Lord Shiva is so powerful that by his anger all the planets and their chief controllers can be destroyed immediately. Also, he said that Lord Shiva was especially sorry because he had recently lost his dear wife and was also very much afflicted by the unkind words of Daksha. Under the circumstances, Lord Brahma suggested, it would behoove them to go at once and beg his pardon. So he's speaking to the followers of Daksha, obviously. And now text number 7. Naham na yagyo na chayuhya manye ye deha bhajo muniyascha tattvam vidu pramanam balabhya yorva yasyatma tantrasya yasyatma tantrasya kaupayam viditset. Another irregular one. Naham na yogyo na chayuya manye ye deha bhajo muniyascha tattvam. Not ye deha. Ye deha. Vidu pramanam balavirya yorva yasyatma tantrasya kahupayam viditset. Tasya kahupayam. Naham na yagyo na chayuya manye ye deha bhajo muniyascha tattvam vidu pramanam balavirya yorva yasyatma tantrasya upayam viditset. Try it. Naham na yagyo na chayuya manye ye deha bhajo muniyascha tattvam vidu pramanam balavirya yorva yasyatma tantrasya upayam viditset. Damodar. Naham na yagyo na chayuya manye ye deha bhajo muniyascha tattvam vidu pramanam balavirya yorva yasyatma tantrasya upayam viditset. Want to give it a shot? Naham na yagyo na chayuya manye ye deha bhajo muniyascha tattvam vidu pramanam balavirya yorva yatma tantrasya upayam viditset. Yes? Want to try it? Go ahead. Naham na yagyo na cha yuyamanye. Ye deha bhajo muniyascha tattvam. Vidu pramanam balavirya yorva. Yasyatma tantrasya kupayam vidhitset. Na, not. Aham, I. Na, nor. Yagyaha, Indra. Na, nor. Cha, and. Yuyam, all of you. Anye, others. Ye, who. Dehabhajaha, of those who bear material bodies. Munayaha, the sages. Cha, and. Tattvam, the truth. Viduhu, know. Pramanam, the extent. Balaviryayoho, of the strength and power. Va, or. Yasya, of Lord Shiva. Atmatantrasya, of Lord Shiva, who is self-dependent. Kaha, what? Upayam, means. Viditset, should wish to devise. Translation. Lord Brahma said that no one, not even himself, Indra, all the members assembled in the sacrificial arena, or all the sages, could know how powerful Lord Shiva is. Under the circumstances, who would dare to commit an offense at his lotus feet? Purport. After Lord Brahma advised the demigods to go to Lord Shiva and beg his pardon, it was suggested how he should be satisfied and how the matter should be placed before him. Brahma also asserted that none of the conditioned souls, including himself and all the demigods, could know how to satisfy Lord Shiva. But Brahma said, "It is known that he is very easily satisfied, so let us try to satisfy him by falling at his lotus feet." Actually, the position of the subordinate is always to surrender to the Supreme. That is the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord asks everyone to give up all kinds of concocted occupations and simply surrender unto him. That will protect the conditioned souls from all sinful reactions. Similarly, in this case, Brahma also suggested that they go and surrender unto the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, for since he is very kind and easily satisfied, this action would prove effective. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So this is a common theme in the Bhagavatam, in which great personalities like Brahma and others declare that there's no way that they can know Krishna. In the 14th chapter, 10th canto, Brahma has several prayers like that. I forget the Sanskrit. He says that some scientists may one day count all of the particles of sand in the beach and all of the snowflakes and all of the atoms, but they'll never be able to reach the end of your qualities. He's speaking to little Krishna in the form of a 5-year-old with a little yogurt in his hand. But he realizes, oh, he has this very important verse, is quoted 3 times in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Narayana Stram Nahisavadevinam Atmasta Jantu, like that. That you are indeed Narayan, the super soul of all. You expand into Mahavishnu and Garbhodaksha Vishnu and like that. And he's recognizing it, that little Krishna is the original Narayan. Very significant verse in the Bhagavatam. So what to do now that these followers of Daksha have offended Shiva so much and gotten the reaction, which is a lot of destruction, and Daksha has been killed, and it's this is a lot of enmity flowing. So Brahma says, well, you have to, realizing now how powerful Shiva is, he destroys the whole universe. at the end of the universe. Each universe is destroyed by Shiva. So we have to try to mitigate the offense by bowing down to his lotus feet. And that's what he's advising now. Under the circumstances, who would dare to commit an offense at his lotus feet? And Prabhupada is extending that to understand that, oh, you should go now to his lotus feet. So, and Brahma is feeling also that he has to lead this procession, because he didn't intervene. He didn't intervene in what was going on. So the solution is to fall down at the lotus feet of Krishna, or Shiva in this case. And Prabhupada says the position of the subordinate is always to surrender to the Supreme. That is the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada is quoting from the 1066 famous verse here. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekang sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshiyasyami mashacha. That Krishna is always ready to forgive and purify and exalt the living entity who surrenders to him. We saw that with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, who was Krishna himself. How on the appeal of Nityananda, he forgave Jagai and Madhai, who had physically accosted Nityananda, committed a great offense, and who were through and through dacoits, atheists, everything. But they, because of their surrender to Nityananda and to him, and their promise to stop committing sins, he forgave everything. He turned them into pure Vaishnavas in that moment. So this process works all the time, but this process of surrender is the most difficult thing for the conditioned soul, who is enamored of his false sense of self, his little power that we may have for a short time. So we have to learn from the Shastra and from the great devotees the actual position of Krishna and our relationship to him, so that we can be inspired to surrender. Maybe it may take a process, but that surrendering is the only strategy by which we can become cleansed of all of our previous karma and nullify. Krishna will nullify our sinful reactions. We're just waiting to affect us. We don't know. Everybody's walking around in great ignorance, not understanding their actual situation, that they have a great history in this world, and that there's various violations that they made, especially this Kali Yuga, that are fructifying. It's just like planting a seed or getting an infection. You get infected with something, some disease, nothing happens right away. And all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3 days, you're coming down with a fever, you're weak, and you've got the flu or whatever it is. So the same thing works with the karma. You forget all about it, what you did, even in this lifetime. But everything is kept in record. Yesterday we were reading Vedaham Samatitani, that Krishna is omniscient. He knows everything that's happened in the past and everything that's happening now and everything that will happen in the future. And he oversees the material energy to give us exactly our just deserts. That's D-E-S-E-R-T-S, believe it or not, 1 S, for just deserts. Just what we deserve. And we're just walking around oblivious to how things are happening. Why good things are happening to bad people and why bad things are happening to so-called good people. It seems like random. And so people become atheists. They don't understand. But everything is carefully controlled. There's an intelligence behind everything, every motion. I was seeing this ant this morning. I don't know if you noticed. It was during the Nrsimha prayers. This tiny little ant just wandering around, completely oblivious, And so this ant is doomed. If I don't take this ant out, he's going to get crushed under it. So what's the loss or gain? Well, this is a soul. He's just like me. He doesn't know. A very fortunate soul to be wandering around in the Krishna temple, but to really become fortunate by take him out and put him in. So it's trouble. So the human beings are not much more, knowledgeable than the ants. We're just going, controlled by our senses and our minds, some crazy idea we get, that we're trained up. It has nothing to do with reality or very little. And we lead our lives in that way. What is described by Sukadeva Goswami, beginning of the 2nd canto. For those who are not devotees, who are absorbed in mundane sound, what is their life like? He summarizes, nidhya hriyate naktam vivayena chabhavayak divacharte rajam kutumba baranenava. At night time, too much sleeping or sex. During the day, working very hard to make money to support the family. Kutumba baranenava, the burden of the family. On the weekends, shopping. And just living a life, hand to mouth. Without even a tinge of inquiry into what is the meaning of all this, and what's my destination? Where did I come from? Where did anything come from? In order to exist in this world, we try to defend ourselves against the inevitable dangers of this world. Everyone understands that you keep the wolf from the door. You know, that's an expression. You ever hear that? That poverty. You see the homeless people. I don't want to become like that. You know, we work very hard. That's a danger. That's something to fear. So we have various soldiers to defend us. The first one is the body. Everyone knows that your mother will tell you, your grandma will tell you, the most valuable thing you have is your health. You don't have your health, you got nothing. You're just lying on the bed, lamenting. So to take care of your health. Your parents teach you to brush your teeth, do everything, and wash your hands. So that's the first thing, deha. Then comes those who are related to you, especially your children. You carefully grow your children. They'll help you in your old age, right? It used to be in civilized society. And of course, the wife, a very important partner in this battle, and etc. Your defense department, the police, whatever, your house. So these are soldiers that help you in your battle, the hard struggle for existence. But he calls them the asatsu, meaning that they're fallible soldiers. They really can't protect you. It's an illusion that any of this can protect you. As Prahlad said, Bala Sineha Sharanam Pitaro Nrsinga, that the father really can't protect the child. And this is a basic instinct of every species, that the parents protect the tender little children. There's love there, But the parents cannot do it without the blessing of the Lord. The medicine can't help the sick person without the sanction of the Lord. The boat in the ocean can't protect you from drowning unless it's sanctioned, unless there's a blessing there. So that's our real shelter, and people don't know it. Therefore, says Shukadev, the real solution to one's problems is not taking shelter of these fallible soldiers, but tasmat bharata sarvatma bhagavan ishvaro hari shrotavyak kirtitavyasta smartavyak chechithabhayam. If you want fearlessness during your life, and especially as death approaches, which is a very fearful situation for the materialist, then you should always hear, chant, and remember. And then he has 4 designations for the Lord: Bhagavan, Ishvaro, Hari, and Sarvatma. The Super Soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, who takes everything away, and this Ishvara, the Supreme Control. In other words, Krishna. That is actually the solution to the problem. So that begins with surrender, because we think we have it figured out, just like Arjuna in the first chapter. He had all his arguments in a row as to why he wouldn't fight, because emotionally he's taking his argument, his pramana, from his gut, not from his brain, not from Krishna. I highly revere Bhishma Dev, the elder statesman and warrior on the battlefield, my teacher Dronacharya, and all of these blood relatives and marriage legal relatives that I see on the other side and on my side. So why should I be part of this massacre of the people I love? I win the kingdom, but it'll be soaked with the blood of the people I love. What's the use of that? I'm going off to the forest. Plus, if I kill all these men or take part in it, what's happened to their wives? They're all widows. They become unprotected. Varnasankara, I'm responsible for the degradation of society. This is how he saw it. He had built up an argument based on the Vedas to justify what he wanted to do. You see how this works? I want to try to enjoy as much as possible. That's what I want to do. And so I'll create a philosophy, or some philosophy called hedonism, And that makes perfect sense, as long as there's no God, and that'll justify my activity. Now, how do they justify today this bombing of Yemen?
year after year after year, which American taxpayers are paying for, in a good part. How can you justify that? Kids are dying. We created a cholera epidemic. It's huge humanitarian. We're practically slaughtering. It's genocide. It's tens of millions of people in that country. It's a small country, but they got 20, 30 million people. How does that get justified? By propaganda, by lies, by ignoring it. People are going on. So this is the nature of Maya. It makes you forget what's really important, and distorts reality to such a way that you think there's no God and I'm the supreme enjoyer and everything's fine, when actually we're walking toward a cliff. Individually and socially, this climate change thing is going to turn this into a microwave oven. You can't live on it. It'll be like Venus. It's so hot there that lead will melt on the surface of the planet. So how do people adjust that? It's obviously changing. I mean, I've been here 30 years and the climate has changed. Isn't it different now than when you were here before? So the way through this illusion is through hearing the Shastra and seeing the example of devotees who are living it, and surrendering, as Arjuna did. Arjuna did. I am paralyzed here. My nature of a confident, heroic Kshatriya is now covered by this miserly weakness and illusion that I've fallen into. So I recognize that, and I see you as no longer my friend. I had a friendly relationship with Krishna, but you're my guru now. You're my spiritual master. I'm trusting that you'll tell me what's good for me and everyone else in certainty. Shishyasteham sharimam tam papannam. The papanna, surrender. I surrender to you, and I'm your shishya. Now, every Sanskrit is a perfect language, and every word has multiple meanings. So each word has a certain root to it. Prabhupada points out that this word shishya has the same root as shastra, and also shastra. So shishya, the basic, what do they call it? Mula? What is the root? Yeah, the mula meaning is shas, which means to be controlled, or to control. So the shishya is one who agrees to be controlled by the words of the superior. So therefore you have to be very careful who you pick as your guru. And that's for the trial period. Is this person actually living according to the Shastra? Does he know the Shastra? And the word Shastra similarly means something that you agree to be controlled by, the words and the ideas. Otherwise, Shastra, which is a weapon, and you be controlled by that. Like Kali has all these weapons, right? She controls us. They may think they're the threefold miseries. They're metaphorically different weapons. So we will be controlled, and we are controlled. The question is, we can choose in human form what we'll be controlled by. If we're controlled by the words of Shastra and Krishna's words, we're controlled by someone who loves us. If we're controlled simply by our own mind and by Maya Devi, she's a prison warden. The prison warden doesn't love you. They're there to punish you, and in this case teach us by these punishment. So this is the choice we have. It seems like we're giving up our independence, but actually getting your freedom by agreeing to be controlled by Krishna. That's what surrender means. Just like I point out this word namaha, right? And that we say Namaste Saraswati Devi, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. How many times a day can we say that? And oftentimes it's Nama Namaha. Again and again I offer my obeisances. So the deep meaning of that word namaha is not mine. This body is not mine. This money is not mine. It's yours. Please, you inspire me to use it for your service. And that sounds like, whoa, I don't want to do that. I give up my independence. But you're not independent. You have an illusion of independence. If you try to use these things for your own benefit on the basis of false ego, then you're bound by them. You're in the prison house of your material desires. This we were discussing yesterday, this idea of the heart being bound by knots or ropes of desire to this material world. When you enjoy something in this world, I remember when every kid practically is totally into chocolate. If there was a cake, I wanted it to be a chocolate cake. You remember those things they used to have, the kisses? The little things wrapped in tin foil? I don't know if they still have them. I would just glom those down, you know. So I was, you know, into chocolate. I really like chocolate. I don't know if you call me a chocolate addict, but that it is addictive. So what happens? I wasn't born with that desire, but somehow along the way, someone gave me some chocolate, and very nice, you know. Let me do it again. So I had, you know, 3 or 4 pieces of chocolate. You know, after a while, you get a little satiated, right? So that happened, you know, again and again, growing up all the way into my, you know, teens and 20s. You know, whenever there's chocolate, milk and all kinds of chocolate. So what was going on there? Well, as soon as you know, experience the senses experience something pleasurable, that plants a seed in your heart. We talk about the seed of bhakti lata bija, the seed of desire to serve Krishna. So this is the seed of desire to enjoy matter, gross and subtle. You hear some music, you know, from previous life, you have, or in your culture, you grow up a certain kind of music, and it gives you some kind of pleasure. That's something that happens. There's something called taurya trikena. I don't know if you heard about this. Taurya is simply singing, dancing, and playing musical instruments. Now you can see how that's such a big deal. You know, music itself is so big, and going dancing to the beat and the music, it's a big weapon of Maya to keep you illusion. Oh, I'm really enjoying. We'll add a little drug to it, you know, liquor, it makes it even more. So that's a big thing. So Lord Chaitanya, in his super genius, he's Krishna after all, he said, well, let's use these very things in the process of devotional service. And that's what Sankirtan is. Sankirtan is the part where you stand up and dance, you know, and the music is playing, you know. And so all those 3, the singing, the dancing, and the playing of musical instruments, are being dovetailed for Krishna. That's why it's so powerful. The very thing, does not the very thing that caused the disease bring about the cure? Example is yogurt, curing a bowel disease, too much milk products, too much sweet rice, you know. Or thorn taking out another thorn. I like to tell, you know, I experienced that when I was growing up. We had a floor, it was actual wood. It had been polished, but you know, after a while it wears down. There was some splinters in there, and I'd run around, and eventually I'd get a little splinter. So I'd ask my mother, can I borrow your, I learned how, she showed me, can I borrow your, and she used to sew, you know, so many needles, and take the needle and, you know, carefully dig out the splinter. It didn't hurt if you just do it right on the surface. And then I get it out, throw it away, and start running around again. So what is a needle but it's a little splinter? It's a metal splinter. The same thing, taking out. So the very food, you know, beauty that we see, music, all the senses, those very things that are keeping us imprisoned here with material desire, I will enjoy it for me, are the means by which we get out. Eating, taking prasadam, seeing the beauty of the deities, hearing the celestial kirtan, you know, those things, when saturated with transcendental sound and like that helps. So but to do that requires a certain amount of surrender, because we're so much conditioned, and that's why we have 4 regular principles, and there's so many don'ts as well as do's in Krishna consciousness. The anukulena sankalpa pratikulya savarjanam, the process of surrender. He's talking about surrender. So it has these 6 processes, 6 elements. The first is accepting that which is favorable. Now it's interesting that that's put first, you know. It's like Prabhupada, when he came, he didn't insist on the 4 regular principles. He just said, come to the Matchless Gifts store, 22 2nd Avenue, 26 2nd Avenue, and come and just chant Hare Krishna, right? Or go out in the park. He's not telling people you have to do this, do that. Just come and hear and join in if you want, you know. So that's anukulyasa. If they're just hearing, that's anukulyasa. That's favorable. What to speak of actually chanting, you see? And things follow later. The don'ts come later, really. The don'ts come later. Oh, if you really want to advance in this process, you have to give up intoxication. Huge thing. In the middle of the 60s in the Lower East Side and in San Francisco. Are you kidding me? The whole thing was built on intoxication. But that was the rule. If you want to get initiation in advance. And they're feeling so much bliss from the Prophet's presence and from the chanting that, okay, we can give it up. And they found we could give it up. Because the holy name itself transforms your consciousness. What are you looking for? You're looking for a transformation of consciousness. So if you're experiencing a blissful transformation in the chanting and the process of devotional service, then you can give up all of this craziness, which is just damaging, is affecting your brain chemistry. And then it becomes a horror show. It can be a very short time or a long time. It's not good. So intoxication, illicit sex, usually difficult, but you find that, that gives you more energy and directs your energy. So the do's and the don'ts. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. Surrender means these 6 things. Accepting the things favorable, even though you're not really into it at first, and giving up those things that are unfavorable, even though you're really into them. And rakshishyatiti vishvaso, to be confident that Krishna will protect. This is a big thing. I mentioned the fallible soldiers. So to really take, just like the Pandavas, they're wandering around in the forest, and Kunti's with them. And they're always confident that Krishna will protect, and in the end he will and it happened. We see with Prabhupada's life, going out on that ship, so much danger, he practically died on the ship of heart attacks, 2 heart attacks, And yet he had the confidence, he felt the security. And this is where you see the real nature, the lack of fear. Because the fear is your bodily consciousness, I'm in such great danger here. But the real devotees, that fear is rejected. Krishna releases that because they're confident of Krishna's protection. And of course sometimes the body is destroyed, eventually the body dies, one way or another. But if the fear isn't there, you can imagine, to face that as just a transition rather than the end of everything. Not easy, but that's the blessing of Krishna consciousness. So, Rakshishyatiti and Vishva Goptra Dvevadanantata. This is the famous yoga and kshema. Krishna says in the Gita, one who was one-pointed worships me, ananyaschantayanto mam, yejanapayapasate, tesham nityabhyuktanam, yoga kshema vahamyaham. He's contrasting that to those who are worshiping the demigods. This comes in the 9th chapter. Right after he's saying how you worship the demigods with all kinds of effort, and then you maybe go to the Indraloka and enjoy for a long time, but then you come back to this world of death and birth and old age and disease. So what progress did you make? None. You wasted a lot of time. On the other hand, those who worship me with one-pointed attention, ananyaschintayanto, and this is the key, it is a yoga process. The thoughts are what create your destiny. That is the key. Ananyaschintayanto mam yejanapayapasate. They worship me with one-pointed attention. Tesham nityabhyuktanami emphasizes always linked to me. Yoga kshema vaham. I personally carry their necessities of life and I protect them. Welfare. There's 2 things we need. The necessities, enough air to breathe, water, food, safety, some protection against the elements, right? And for, most 99.99% of the people, family life, this and that, you need that to some degree. So Krishna says, I provide. I provide that myself, I carry that, and I protect you. So you need the necessities of life and you need security. Those are the 2 things. And Krishna says, I provide it. So that's Rakshishyatiti and Vishwa and Goptritve. Goptritve means maintenance. Then Atmanikshepa Karpanye. Atmanikshepa means to have no interest other than Krishna's, than serving Krishna. And always be meek and humble. You see, it's not easy. And surrender is the doorway into bhakti. That's the doorway. So that's very essential. And Krishna emphasizes that as the final lesson of the Bhagavad Gita. You just give up all these other dharmas. I just described to you karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga. Forget about them. Sarva dharma padityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. You simply take one-pointed shelter of me. I will protect you from all sin-free actions. I'll give you everything you need. Previous verse, the most confidential knowledge. This is it, the secret of all secrets. Just think of me. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru. Think of me, become my devotee, worship me, surrender to me. You will certainly come to me. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. Just think of me, become devoted, worship me, and bow down low. You'll come to me, oh friend. I promise you this boon I shall bestow. Just give up all other dharmas and surrender only unto me. Your sins I'll nullify, O Arjun. From anxiety be free. This mudra, we see Radharani eternally giving it here. Don't worry. Be peaceful. Everything will be fine. You just surrender to us. Love us. So Brahma is giving this advice now. That you made a big mistake. Now the only solution is to surrender and go and beg for forgiveness. And of course he will forgive, because great Vaishnavas always do when they see sincere repentance. And as Prabhupada says, penance and austerity. He doesn't just say austerity, right? Penance and austerity. Austerity alone, Hiranyakashipu had that, but he wasn't repentant at all. But to really repent and intend to do better, that's the formula. Okay, it's 8:30. I'm going to read these two translations again. Brahma also advised them, the followers of Daksha, that Lord Shiva is so powerful that by his anger all the planets and their chief controllers can be destroyed immediately. They are destroyed immediately. Also he said that Lord Shiva was especially sorry because he had recently lost his dear wife and was also very much afflicted by the unkind words of Daksha. Under the circumstances, Brahma suggested it would behoove them to go at once and beg his pardon. Brahma said that no one, not even himself, Indra, all the members assembled in the sacrificial arena, or all the sages, could know just how powerful Lord Shiva is. Under the circumstances, who would dare to commit an offense at his lotus feet? And he also reminded them, I think earlier on, that he's also Asutosh, that he's easily satisfied if one comes with sincere offering. So that's going to happen as we go on. Any comments or questions? If so, please activate the mic. Sure, Prabhu. Sorry, I'm a little different. My brain is not working exactly right. We've had 3 days of fasting, and yesterday was a complete fast. Go ahead. I mean today. Yesterday.
I had a recent experience of surrendering to Krishna, and
had a brief what?
A recent experience
okay.
surrendering to Krishna. So my only source of income is washing pots here at the temple. Now, if some very fired up, intrepid volunteer comes in and decides to spontaneously wash all my pots, I'm kind of, at least from a material standpoint, messed up financially. So the first few times that happened, I would get all agitated and go in there and not yell at people, but make it kind of clear that, hey, this is my job. And I finally realized that it's not, I might make a little bit of profit off that, but it's not worth discouraging someone from, it's not worth blowing out their little spark of bhakti they have to want to come to the temple and do spontaneous service. So I just finally threw up my hands one day and I was like, all right, Krishna, if you just want me to live on the streets, fine, I don't care anymore, whatever you decide. And as soon as that happened, on Janmashtami night, 2 Indian Majis came up to me and they gave me a total of $50. And then also, unexpectedly, I got $100 about a couple weeks ago from some incident. So yeah, as soon as I just like surrendered to the whole thing, and I was like, Krishna, I'm just gonna focus on serving you. I'm not gonna discourage anybody in their bhakti. If you want to give me money, fine. If you don't, fine, whatever. And then it just everything opened right up.
See,
so,
good faith.
Yeah.
Please surrender to Krishna, he'll maintain. That was the mood, in the early days. I mean, people would join. I mean, Bhagavan joined. I forget his karmi name. He was going to be a doctor. He was like in the last year of med school in I think Buffalo University, something like that. I mean, he had some very kind of competent people. Really, Ananda Maharaj could have been. He's such an incredible brain. You can imagine what he would. And they were just giving up their thing and just surrendering and going out in the street and chanting Hare Krishna. And and even in the early days, these stories, it's amazing stories. How the whole thing of book distribution had not started, and that was really the engine where a lot of Lakshmi started to come. But before that, Brahmananda wanted to quit his job and move into the temple. Said, no, you can't quit your job. You stay in your job and you give your you live in the temple, but you give your paycheck. Same thing with Satsu Maharaj. And Jayananda was famous for driving his cab all day. But then certain, at certain points, you have the rent. Practically everything was rented. They had these rented places. And sometimes there was just no money. We tried to collect something on Harinam or, whatever, and there was nothing. So in two instances that I know of, these miraculous incidents happened. Rabindranath Sarup told me this story personally. Some of you may have heard it. The Philadelphia temple, they just didn't have the rent, and they were facing being out on the street. So they said, well, let's go on Harinam and just surrender. And you can imagine how sincerely everyone was chanting out there. Hare Krishna. So downtown Philadelphia, I used to live there, I think it was State Street or something. And like any big downtown, a lot of traffic, foot traffic as well as vehicular. And so in the middle of the Harinam, Rabindranath sees on the other side, I think on the other side of the street, this tall gentleman who looked exceptional. He was dressed in some kind of white or very light suit, And he crossed the street, comes to the party, gives Rabindranath Sarup an envelope, says something, I think you need this, and keeps walking, and then you can't see him anymore. And sure enough, in that envelope was just the amount of rent that they needed. And another one, I think Malati told me, or I heard her speak about it. Similar thing, I think it was in L.A. or maybe San Francisco. And they're out in the street, and they're all worried about the rent. There's no income, and they see all of a sudden there's a bunch of $100 bills or $20 bills, which is a lot. Was that in London? Oh, maybe that was London. Okay. And so, in these kind of experiences, you just have it one time, and it's just so much faith building, and you can hear about it. And Prabhupada himself, he comes to America with no money, but somehow going to, Butler, Pennsylvania, but he didn't want to stay there, so he came to New York, and somehow he found a place, Dr. Mishri let him cook there, and he was able to sell a few books, and on and on and on. And then, the whole thing really took off when he met Mukunda, Michael Grant, and they were able to get the place at 26th Avenue rather than down on the Bowery where nothing really could have grown, So it's, Krishna may test you, that's for sure. But eventually you'll see, that this really works and that Krishna will provide. So that's and hearing about these instances, and even that little one that you talk about, is good for everybody. It gives you faith that I can do this too. And one of the things is just on a from a yoga point of view, or from a point of view of how we're supposed to chant for perfection. Trinadapi Sunichena, to be as humble as a blade of grass, as tolerant as a tree, and not wanting any honor and giving honor to others. And in this way you can chant always. And the quality of the chanting. So, you think of Queen Kunti. These verses are so important. Janmaishaya Shuta Shiva Edaman Madakpuman Navahati Vedatan Vaichama Kinchana Gochara. That Krishna is the property of the property-less. That's what a Kinchana Gochara means. Not necessarily that you don't have anything, but that you don't consider yourself the owner and possessor of it. Just like you have very wealthy devotees like Ambarish, but he's actually spending it for Krishna, so he can also be a Kinchana. So in this verse, she says, there's four kind of categories of opulence: good birth, wealth, physical beauty, and education. And he says, those who possess these and who are kind of intoxicated with them, they may chant the name, they may chant your name and address you, but they can't address you with deep feeling and desperation. And so Prabhupada explains in that purport, it's all about the quality of the chanting, the quality. And if you feel if you're surrendered, you're generally surrendered, and you're depending on Krishna, moment by moment, and you call out to him, naturally you'll call out in great desperation, and that's what really attracts his attention. That's where your focus, is going to be. So to voluntarily enter that position, like the Goswamis or like Prabhupada, that's in turn the advanced position. To put yourself in that position where you really are depending on Krishna, then that's a very healthy spiritual position. So that's why surrender is, I think Krishna will protect, Krishna will maintain. Otherwise, everyone's out there trying to protect themselves and maintain themselves, or creating these horrific organizations like the Defense Department, to protect. which is really not protecting, but rather oppressing. Okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.